Monday, November 16th, we're here for the purpose of the regular meeting of the Elmhurst City Council. It's 7:37. I would ask that you, I'm going to read this first. The governor of the state of Illinois
has declared a gubernatorial disaster proclamation in response to the COVID-19 outbreak, restricting individuals to gatherings of 10 persons or less. And all the city of Elmhurst is covered by this disaster area. In light of the ongoing COVID-19 outbreak, the mayor of the city of Elmhurst has determined that an in-person meeting for November 16th, 2020 city council meeting may not be practical or prudent in light of the disaster. All the aldermen of the city council participating in the November 16th, 2020 city council meeting, wherever their physical location, shall be verified and determined that they can hear one another and can hear the discussion and testimony during the meeting. So I'm going to do that now before I ask for a roll, just to make sure we can get started. I'm going to run down the list of people who I can see on my Zoom call. Treasurer Leibovitz, can you hear me? She's waiting. Yeah. Okay, great. Anybody who can hear me when I call you, Treasurer Leibovitz, I'm going to ask you to put you on mute. Jim, can you do that? Anybody who I call on, please respond that you can hear me and then you can hear other people. So I'm going to go down the row. City Attorney Storino. Mike Kopp over there in our public comment annex. Wave if you can hear me. There you go. Alderman Deuter.
Yep, I can hear you, Steve.
Okay. Alderman Toledo.
Here I am. All good.
Alderman Brennan.
I can hear you.
Alderman Levin.
I hear you.
Alderman Polomsky.
I can hear you.
Alderman Park.
Yep, I can hear everybody.
City Manager. Clerk Tamer.
I can hear everybody.
Alderman Mulliner.
I can hear everybody.
Alderman Braham.
I can hear everybody.
Okay, that's everybody with the exception of Alderman Dunn, who has texted me saying that he will join us a little bit later, but we do have a quorum. That you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Tamer, please call the roll.
1 second here. Brennan?
Here.
Mulliner?
Here.
Deuter? Veremis? Dunn? Not yet. Bram? Polomsky? Cahill, absent. Toledo? Park? Levin? Kennedy? Honquist? 11 present, 2 absent, 1 vacancy.
11 present, 1 absent. We have a quorum.
2 absent.
2 absent. 11 present, 2 absent right now.
11 present, 2 absent. We have a quorum. Okay, on to agenda item 2, public hearings. So we've got 2 public hearings tonight. We are going to call the roll. We're going to call the roll for both public hearings individually. We're going to have the public hearings individually, and then we will motion to exit from these public hearings. These public hearings are required by law. First one is agenda item 2.1, public hearing on the tentative annual 2021 budget. There's a public hearing scheduled for this evening. This public hearing concerns the city's tentative annual budget for 2021. I call the public hearing to order. Roll call, Clerk Tamer.
Brennan,
Here.
Mulliner,
Here.
Joyder, Verimus,
Here.
Dunn, absent Bram,
Here.
Palumski,
Here.
Cahill, absent Chaluto,
Here.
Park,
Here.
Levin,
Here.
Kennedy,
Here.
Conquest,
Here.
11 present, 2 absent.
11 present, 2 absent. This public hearing is now open. The purpose of this public hearing is to take comment concerning the city's tentative annual budget for 2021. I would ask the city clerk, are there any written comments concerning the 2021 budget?
No, Mayor, there's not.
Okay. Is there any members of the public that would like to comment to within the scope of this public hearing for the budget? Before I take this to the next level, this is for, I don't want the public to confuse this with public comment that we have with our normal meetings. We will have our normal public comment under agenda item 4. Doesn't mean you can't comment under both, but I just want to make sure people understand that this public hearing portion and public comment portion of this public hearing is restricted to the budget itself. I know Mr. Kopp is in there in the public comment bullpen. Aware of that signed up specifically for public comment with regard to the public hearing on our budget?
No, there is not.
Is there anybody on the line who wishes to comment on the budget at this time?
No, there is not.
Okay. Oh, okay. I know we got 2 people waiting for regular public comment. It sounds like they both said no. I don't see any in council chambers. And Mr. Kopp, I don't see anybody in there with you that wants to have public comment at this time.
That is correct.
Okay. Would any members of the public like to make comments? We just went through that. Okay. And that's that. I will now entertain a motion to close this public hearing on the 2021 budget. I see a motion by Alderman Mulliner, second by Alderman Bram. Clerk Tamer, since we are majority remote, I'm going to ask you to do a roll call vote. Motion to close the hearing.
Brennan,
Aye.
Mulliner,
Aye.
Joyder,
Aye.
Ramus,
Aye.
Dunn, absent Bram,
Aye.
Palumski,
Aye.
Cahill, absent Chaluto,
Aye.
Park,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Conquest,
Aye.
11 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent.
11 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. The hearing for the 2021 budget is closed. We'll now move on to agenda item 2.2. This is a 2020 tax increase levy or SSA 16. There's a public hearing scheduled for this evening. The public hearing concerns the 2020 tax levy for Special Service Area 16. This is the SSA is referring to the Virginia Lane townhomes. I call the public hearing to order, and I would ask the clerk to call the roll.
Brennan,
Here.
Mulliner,
Here.
Joyder,
Here.
Verimus,
Here.
Dunn, absent Bram,
Here.
Palumski,
Here.
Cahill absent, Toledo,
Here.
Park,
Here.
Levin,
Here.
Kennedy,
Here.
Conquest,
Here.
Levin present, 2 absent, 1 vacancy.
11 present, 2 absent. We have a quorum. The purpose of this public hearing is to take public comment concerning the 2020 tax levy for Special Service Area 16. I would ask the city clerk, are there any written comments concerning the 2020 tax levy for SSA Special Service Area 16?
No, Mayor, there's not.
There are none at this time. I would ask if there's any members of the public that wish to supply or make any comments for the record as it relates to SSA 16, same as last public hearing. I will remind the public that this is only for this SSA public hearing, and it is not our main public forum. Any comments from the public? Mr. Kopp?
There is no one in person, and one person on the phone just said no. Ms. Scudder, do you wish to speak?
Not about this, no, thank you.
No, there is not.
Okay, seeing that there's nobody in our public comment annex and nobody in council chambers here, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing. Motion by Alderman Bram, second by Alderman Toledo. As we are 50-50 remote and in person, I'll ask Clerk Tamer to call the roll on the motion to close the hearing.
Brennan,
Aye.
Mulliner,
Aye.
Deuter,
Aye.
Verimus,
Aye.
Dunn, absent, Bram,
Aye.
Palumski.
Aye.
Cahill absent, Toledo,
Aye.
Park,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Conquest,
Aye.
11 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent.
11 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. The hearing is closed. On with our regular meeting. Agenda item 3, written communications from the public. At this time, is there anybody in the public? I don't see anybody that has any written comments they wish to submit. Anybody in there, Mr. Kopp? I see 2 people. Is that Ms. Hayes walking around?
It is. There is
Anybody
no one-
else?
No, sir.
No written comments to be submitted. Okay. We are going to close the agenda item 3, the written comment portion of our business. On to public forum. This is an opportunity for anybody in the audience or attending online to provide public comment. We ask out of respect for the work that we have to get done here this evening and work that, and others that may want to speak, that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. We ask that you identify yourself for the record as we are recording it. So name, address is optional. If you go over 3 minutes, I will give you a gentle reminder and ask you to wrap up. We also ask that you direct your comments to the chair. That's me. So Clerk Tamer, I know that Mr. Kopp has a couple of people on deck there. Do you have anybody?
We have 2 that signed up. The first one's Kendra Thompson.
All right, Mr. Kopp, assuming Ms. Thompson could hear us, the floor is hers. Ms. Thompson.
Good evening. Yes, this is Kendra Thompson of Elmhurst. Last week I sent an email to Mayor Morley, City Manager Grabowski, Alderman Kennedy, and Alderman Conquest regarding the city's COVID safety warning under the Tier 2 mitigation measures for indoor dining. However, I never received a response. I feel the city is deliberately allowing restaurants to continue with indoor dining when the state has mandated restaurants to discontinue this service. So this COVID safety warning email that was sent to the residents pertaining to us staying safe seems to be ridiculously hypocritical. I know Mayor Morley, you sent a letter to Governor Pritzker asking for him to be more lenient toward restaurants and bars because you feel to think they are a lower risk for spread, which is simply not true. You stated in this letter to the governor that the shutdown of indoor dining would be fatal for restaurants, but maybe you should be more concerned about the fatality of actual lives. I find it ironic that some of you are attending this meeting remotely and following the 10-person max gathering mandate yourselves, yet are fine with indoor dining to continue with well above the 10-person max. Keep in mind, I do understand the hardship this mandate will cause our restaurants, and I feel for them as they are part of our community, economy, and provide livelihoods. But you cannot have a livelihood if you don't have a life. And not only are the customers are at risk inside these restaurants and bars, but so are the employees. Today, the patch reported towns like Western Springs, LaGrange, and Darien handling restaurants who are violating the governor's order and reporting these violations to the county and/or Illinois Health Department. Further, some of these cities are returning funds from food and beverage tax money to help restaurants and bars who are providing outdoor dining throughout the fall and the winter. I will be interested to see what you, Mayor Morley, will say during this week's community town hall with Elmhurst Hospital about the city's response to COVID as you continue to turn a blind eye to restaurants violating the governor's mandate for indoor dining. To indirectly quote Governor Pritzker last week, quote, to those who have flat out told the businesses in their communities to ignore what their local and state public health departments and experts are telling them, what is it going to take to get you to be part of the solution, unquote. He said more people will die due to local leaders failing to enforce public mandates. Quote, what will it take to make this real for you? Are you waiting for healthcare workers to get sick to the point where you don't have enough staff to cover shifts? What if hospitals become so overrun that the sick and dying have nowhere left to turn? Because I promise you, while you fail to take responsibility in your city and county, that day is coming closer and it will be on you, unquote. These are very strong words from the governor directed towards city officials like you. Be the leaders this town elected you to be, represent and protect both your residents and businesses. Thank you.
Okay, wait, before I ask for the next person, I just want to do a audio check. Alderman Dunn, can you hear me? Okay, Bob gave me the thumbs up. Alderman Dunn has joined us for the record. Clerk Tamer.
Jay McNichols.
Mr. McNichol, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council staff to speak tonight. I applaud Ms. Thompson's words. My topic is a little bit less serious. As you may have guessed from my previous appearances, I'm speaking tonight regarding the Elmhurst Extended Care Center and their zoning ordinance. I wanted to point out that the zoning ordinance for the conditional use on Fremont Avenue was approved 960 days ago. That is 11 and a half months actually, since that zoning ordinance was approved. The applicant at the time in March of 2018 implored the City Council in a formal letter written by their attorney to approve the ordinance immediately so that they would not lose, quote, another construction season, end quote. Since then, Elmhurst Extended Care Center has done very little with the zoning ordinance. In fact, they have, it took them a year and a half to pick up the building permit. It took them 2 full years to put in the required letter of credit with the city in order to pick up that building permit. They have requested and received 2 extensions of that ordinance. But like I said, it has been over 30 months. So it begs the question, 22.26. How is it that zoning ordinance can be 31 months old, having received 2 extensions, and really has no construction to show for it? In fact, Elmhurst Extended Care Center did try to extend this project, if you want to call it that, last Thursday, November 12th, by installing a construction fence on Friday the 13th, which was the deadline for the ordinance to expire. They put in a construction trailer on the site, but there has been no substantial progress made on that project. It is 2.5 years since it's been approved. I guess the holder of the ordinance, or the recipient of the zoning variance, did have some difficulty receiving their financing, according to a letter they wrote back in April. However, there has been no written documentation or proof, evidence, so to speak, that housing, the Department of Housing and Urban Development is
Uh-oh, Mr. Kopp, do we have technical difficulties there?
It sounded like you got disconnected. We didn't do anything on this end.
Coincidentally, got disconnected right at 3 minutes, but that was not the intent. Can you tell if he's going to try to dial back in, or do you have his number?
He just sent me a text saying that it was his fault. I'm not sure. He didn't say if he is calling in.
Unorthodox, but Mr. Bram, you want to text him and ask him if he plans to try to call back in, or is he finished?
I'm doing that as we speak.
Okay. Patience as we all deal with this new reality.
He said he will not be calling back, but thank you.
Okay. Mr. Kopp, I'm sorry, Clerk Tamer. I know that those were 2 people that were signed up, and it sounds like we got both of them. Is there anybody else?
There's not, Mayor.
Okay, I don't see anybody in the audience. Mr. Kopp, is there anybody in there with you that did not sign up on the sign-in sheet, but wishes to address us at this time?
No, there is not.
Okay, that's going to conclude public forum for this evening, and now we will go to announcements. Any announcements from the dais? Alderman Palomsky.
Thank you, Mayor. On Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020, at 7 o'clock to 8:30 p.m., the City of Elmhurst Commission on Youth is hosting a series of youth issues during COVID. The first event is anxiety and health experts from Rogers Behavioral Health in Hinsdale, discussing ways parents can address and support the needs of children who are suffering from anxiety during this time. Thank you. Information can be found on the city's website.
Okay, any other announcements? Seeing none, we'll go on to the consent agenda. At this time, is there any item on the consent agenda any alderman wishes to have pulled to vote no or provide further comment? Please raise your hand. Alderman Bram.
6.8.
6.8. Okay, anybody else? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Anyone else pull anything from the consent agenda? I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item 6.8. Motion by Alderman Mulliner, second by Alderman Toledo. Clerk Tamer.
Brennan.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Joyder.
Aye.
Veremis.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Bram.
Aye.
Palomsky.
Aye.
Cahill absent. Toledo,
Aye.
Park,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Conquest,
Aye.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent.
Twelve ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Consent agenda minus item 6.8 is approved. On to agenda item 6.8. I would ask Clerk Tamer to read the ordinance.
An ordinance extending temporary executive powers pursuant to Section 3.16 of Elmhurst Municipal Code and pursuant to 65 ILCS 5/11-1-6.
Put this before council, ask for a motion to approve the ordinance as read. Motion by Alderman Mulliner. Second by Alderman Toledo. Discussion. Alderman Brand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As everyone's aware, and as we're doing this evening, we have the methodologies or process and procedures in place to handle anything in a timely manner compared to what we would normally do with a difference of a report one meeting and an ordinance or resolution the following meeting. Tonight, we're suspending the rules for one of the reports to handle such things in a timely fashion. Out of the approximate 6 times that the executive power has been utilized, only one, at least I personally believe that only one time was it a necessity. And even then, I think we could have done it in the process that we're demonstrating tonight, which is suspending the rules to handle it in the same evening. Therefore, I will not be supporting this at this time.
Okay, any other comments?
Palomsky.
Aye.
Cahill absent. Toledo,
Aye.
Park,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Conquest,
Aye.
11 ayes, 1 nay, 1 absent.
Whoops. 11 ayes, 1 nay, motion carries. Agenda item 6.8 is approved. On to committee report, 7.1. This is a report out of finance. I would ask Clerk Tamer to read the recommendation.
It is therefore the recommendation of the Finance, Council Affairs, and Administrative Services Committee that the City Council approve the City of Elmhurst 2020 tax levy in the amount of $19,913,654, representing a 3.47% increase in the city's tax levy compared to 2019. Furthermore, it is the recommendation of the FCAAS Committee that the City Council approve the abatement of all current debt services obligations for the city's general obligation bonds in the amount of $9,617,050.02. The FCAAS Committee also recommends that the City Council direct the City Attorney to prepare the 2020 tax levy ordinance and appropriate debt service abatement ordinances. Signed, Noel P. Toledo, Chair, Scott Levin, Vice Chair, Alderman J. Bram, Alderwoman Verimas.
Put this before council, ask for a motion to approve the report and recommendation as read. Motion by Alderman Toledo, second by Alderman Levin. Alderman Toledo, your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's my pleasure tonight to present to the council tax levy. This report recommends a 3.5% tax increase versus prior year. This is completely driven by another increase in pension contributions. The general fund portion of the tax levy is flat at 0% increase, as well as the library. And we still recommend abating all debt service. This recommendation recognizes and tries to balance opposing pressures. An upward pressure continues to be felt through increasing pension payments, primarily to the police and fire pensions. The other opposing pressure is our desire to keep taxes low and reasonable for the taxpayers of Elmhurst, especially given the hardships placed on residents and property owners due to the COVID pandemic. So while our report does recommend an increase, we feel it is a responsible recommendation that continues to fund our pension obligations, but keeps other increases to the taxpayers at zero. As usual, we did include several schedules to help put the levy recommendation into context. On Schedule C, you will find that for an average homeowner in Elmhurst, the 3.47% increase would be about another $36 each year in taxes. Also on Schedule D, the property tax bill will reflect separate line items, as you will recall on your own property tax bill. The City of Elmhurst line item will show a 7% decrease. The library will show a 0% rate, and the pension fund line will show a 10.4% increase. All of these come out to a total combined of 3.47% increase. With that piece of information and those details, I do ask for the council's support, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Any comments? Seeing none, I'm going to ask Clerk Tamer to call the vote.
Brennan?
Aye.
Mulliner?
Aye.
Joyder?
Aye.
Verimus?
Aye.
Dunn? Alderman Dunn? He's muted.
Aye.
Okay, I see it now. That's all right. Bram?
Aye.
Palumski?
Aye.
Cahill absent. Toledo?
Aye.
Park?
Aye.
Levin?
Aye.
Kennedy?
Aye.
Conquest?
Aye.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent.
What was that number?
12
12
ayes.
ayes. 12 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Agenda item 7.1 is approved. Under reports and recommendations, appointed elected officials. 8.1, Mayor Morley, that's me. Real quick. We did hold a Veterans Day on the 11th. We did hold a Veterans Day ceremony. We did it in accordance with all safety protocol in place. We filmed it separately. Had very few people there. But the good news is, if you look at the job that Dennis and Joe did, you would think that everything went off without a hitch. I would encourage you to either go to our city webpage or go to our YouTube Elmhurst TV page and view our Veterans Day ceremony. It's important that we remember veterans on this special day. Second, we did actually set up, Governor had mentioned that he was setting up mobile testing sites around the state, and Elmhurst worked with Bensonville, and we actually set up a mobile testing station in Churchville, in a Churchville parking lot here in Elmhurst, a Churchville school. It was open on the 9th and 10th. We tested over 1,000 people, and I know that we're in contact with the IDPH and governor's people. We might be doing another set of mobile testing. Finally, We are under, most recently, the governor has put us under tier 2 restrictions for resurgence mitigation. I would ask that you all go online, whether it's through the city website or through IDPH or through the DuPage County Health Department. There's plenty of information online to find out what that actually means. Certainly it restricts the ability for indoor dining, but also restricts gatherings to 10 or under. So certainly I would ask that all residents make themselves familiar with the governor's most recent actions. And then tonight, immediately following this meeting, we will be hosting a committee of the whole to continue our budget discussions. And that's it for me, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one thing to add to that. We had the first leaf collection in November for residents. We have a second one coming up the week of December 2nd through the 4th on your regular garbage day. That will be the last one for the year. So if you could please share that with all your constituents, we'd appreciate that. Information is on the city website.
Thank you. Any other reports from elected officials? One second, Alderman Braham. Pardon me, I just got an Amber Alert. Alderman Braham, the floor is yours.
Yes, I just wanted to make mention, the resident who spoke during public forum brought it up, but this upcoming Thursday, Mr. Mayor, yourself, as well as others, Edward Elmhurst Health COVID-19 Virtual Community Town Hall, Thursday the 19th from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. I'm not aware if that's posted on the city website or not. If you or the city manager can expound on that.
Yeah, good point, Alderman Braham. I forgot about that during my report. Yes, it's a virtual town hall. It's by Edward Elmhurst, kind of bringing us all up to speed on their experiences and how they're handling the resurgence of COVID-19, and it is on the city website. And I know that you can also get more information on the Edward Elmhurst website as well. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll go on to agenda item 9.1. This is a resolution. I would ask Clerk Tamer to read the resolution.
A resolution accepting the proposal of Assurance Agency Ltd. For professional insurance brokerage services to acquire insurance coverage for the city of Elmhurst. See item 6.5.
Okay, to put this before council, I'll ask for a motion to approve the resolution as read. Motion by Alderman Toledo, second by Alderman Braham. Discussion. Alderman Toledo.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is just the resolution approving the prior report to be able to notify insurance companies before a December 1st deadline was the reason for us having to suspend the rules. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Any other comments? Clerk Tamer, please call the vote. Really? You can hear me? Yeah. Oh, I heard everything.
Okay.
Clerk Tamer, please call the vote.
Brennan.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Veremus.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Braham.
Aye.
Palumsky.
Aye.
Cahill absent. Toledo.
Aye.
Park.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Conquest.
Aye.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent.
12 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Agenda item 9.1 is approved. Agenda item 10, other business. Any other business? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Alderman Braham, second by Alderman Mulliner. Before I ask for the roll call vote, I think it would be prudent to stay connected. as we are, even as we adjourn the meeting, and then we'll call it back in about 5 minutes. Motion to adjourn by Alderman Bram and Alderman Mulliner. Clerk Tamer.
Brennan.
Aye.
Mulliner. Joyder.
Aye.
Verimus.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Palumski.
Aye.
Hale absent. Toledo.
Aye.
Park.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Conquest.
Aye.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent.
12 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. We are adjourned. Back in 5 minutes, folks.
Tina Park, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
How are you?
That didn't work.
Music? Yep.
I want to say it's nice that I can see the new alderman.
Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today is November 16th, 2020. We're here for the purpose of the Committee of the Whole.
It is
It is 8:27.
The Governor of
The Governor of the State of Illinois has declared a gubernatorial disaster proclamation in response to the COVID-19 outbreak restricting individuals to gatherings of 10 persons or less
in all
of the city of Elmhurst is covered by the disaster area. In light of the ongoing COVID outbreak, the mayor of the city of Elmhurst has determined that an in-person meeting
for the
for the 16th, 2020 Committee of the Whole meeting may not be practical or approved in light of the disaster. All the aldermen of the city council participating
in the November
November 16th, 2020 Committee of the Whole,
wherever
their physical location shall be verified and determined, they can hear one another and can hear all discussion and testimony during the meeting.
I'm going to be going
left to right
based on what I see
in front of me.
And
that starts with City
Attorney
Storino. Can you hear me?
Mike Cobb.
Mike Cobb.
Public comment.
Public comment.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Alderman Brennan.
Alderman Brennan.
I can hear you, Mayor.
Alderman Park.
Yes, I can hear you.
Alderman Park, are those Olympic gold medals behind you?
Ragnar's and half marathons and other ones. Yeah. It's better than you seeing the rest of my room. So.
Better left unsaid. Treasurer Leibovitz. That's a wave.
I hear you.
Okay. Alderman Deuter.
I hear you.
Director Trozine.
I can hear you, Mayor.
Alderman Bram.
I can hear you.
Clerk Tamer.
I can hear you.
City Manager. Alderman Vremus. Palomsky.
I can hear you.
Alderman Levin.
Check.
Alderman Dunn.
Alderman Dunn.
Check.
Alderman Toledo.
Yes, here I am.
Alderman Honquist.
Yes, this is fun.
It's one way of putting it. Alderman Kennedy.
Yes, Steve.
All right. Everyone who's participating has made it clear that they can hear all discussion. I will ask Clerk Tamer to call the roll.
Brennan,
Here.
Mulliner,
Here.
Deuter,
Here.
Veremus,
Here.
Dunn,
Here.
Bram,
Here.
Palomsky,
Here.
Cahill, absent. Toledo,
Here.
Park,
Here.
Levin,
Here.
Kennedy,
Here.
Honquist.
Here.
12 present, 1 absent, 1 vacancy.
12 present, 1 absent. We have a quorum. On to announcements. Any announcements? Seeing none, we'll go on with public comment. Mr. Kopp, is anybody in there on the phone or in person?
No, there is not.
Clerk Tamer, anybody signed up?
No, Mayor, there isn't.
Okay, seeing nobody in our audience, in the annex, or signed up, we are going to conclude public comments for this meeting. Approval of minutes. Really? This will be ready for approval. Oh, okay, that's just a note. Okay. 5, business for the committee. Continued review of the fiscal budget. I think we all know what we're here for. With any luck this evening, we will conclude review of the schedule that has been provided to us by city staff. The plan right now is to have a committee of the whole next Monday, the 23rd, after committee meetings to go over circlebacks and hopefully answer any final questions that elected officials may have. As I've said in the past, I would ask that if you can, get as many questions. If you have any questions that aren't answered during these meetings, please get them to city staff so that they can either be added to the circleback list or you can get your answer. I appreciate the aldermen who have done that already. And then, should all go well and all circlebacks be answered, it is the intention to have this final budget before council for final approval. Our first meeting in December, which is December 7th. I'll remind council that we are required by state law to approve a budget every year. So without any further ado, any questions before I turn it over to city manager? Alderman Levin.
Are we then clearing the tentative hold on November 30th as a possible date, or should we still regard that as a potential hold?
It is tentative until the conclusion of the committee of the whole next Monday.
Thank you.
But with any luck, we won't be having it, but we won't know until next Monday. Anybody else? City manager, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. So tonight we have a list that begins with administration and elected officials, and that starts on page 100 through 103. All of the items tonight will be addressed by myself or Tom Trezine if you have questions. So starting on page 100, there is one item that sticks out that I want to address, and that is the health insurance. That is a credit of $307,300. That is through the pool that we are in. We received a credit, and so Tom Trezine decided to put that in the administration budget, which makes our budget look fantastic because we're down from 1.2 million to 900,000. So that should really conclude everything right there. Kidding. So that's what that number is, just in case people were wondering. As we go further down, this is the budget where our communications budget resides as well. So I want to bring up a few points about that. Communication outlets that are currently managed include all of the social media outlets for the city, the Front Porch newsletter, the e-newsletter, the website, which includes the news flash, civic alerts, online calendar, and the soon to be launched Elmhurst Connect reporting system. As COVID-19 hit and our pandemic communications increased, it became almost a 24/7 responsibility, keeping the residents, businesses, and property owners informed of what was happening, the uncertainty, and as information changed and was gained, we got that out as quickly as possible. I really appreciate all the efforts Cassandra Schreff put in for that. It was a team effort. She had some help, but Cassandra was phenomenal in putting together resources for that. If you recall, in the last budget, we had a part-time communications person in there, and we were this close to hiring somebody in February, and then March hit, and we decided to hold off on that, of course. We did not reprogram that in the budget for this year because of budget constraints. We're not saying that that isn't necessary and we don't need the help, but because of budget constraints, we did not program that position. So one of the projects, though, that Cassandra's been working on and all the staff have is the Elmhurst Connect. And this is the app that we've been working on for some time. And I think the council understands there was a glitch in the contract provision with the first provider. And so we had to almost start over with a new provider. But the product that we've been testing is great. The staff are using it, and I think some of the elected officials have been putting in requests as well as we've been going through this, and it's really been unique for us as a tool because it just allows us to get instant feedback on problems that we see out there, and then eventually where we are in the status of rolling them and fixing them. So we're anxious to roll that out in the new year. We want to make sure that there's plenty of testing done on all sides of that before we roll it out for general public use. And then other public programming that we have on line 6045. That's on page 101. That would include Front Porch Newsletter. And again, Front Porch Newsletter continually comes back in our survey as the #1 resource for residents to get information about the city. So we continue to edit and put that together and print that and send it out by mail. The new community app is in there. And then this is a year for a citizen survey, as I just mentioned. So that is what I have on administration. The elected officials page is 103, and that is very standard. That includes all the elected officials' part-time wages, and then any Social Security, Medicare that's combined with that. So Mayor, if there's questions, we're happy to answer those about administration and elected officials.
Question or comments regarding agenda item 6A, administration and elected officials? Alderman Bram.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few questions on this budget, one of which and I don't remember the reason, but Youth Commission is not showing. Well, before even 2019. So that is question one. Question two, and I may make it a circle back depending on the answer, is SOC or Suburban O'Hare Commission. It looks like we're not budgeting anything from 2021 moving forward. And then lastly, if I can get an understanding.
Alderman Bram?
Yes.
I know that the Youth Commission line was 6057 on page 101. What was SOC anywhere listed?
Oh, I'm sorry. Same page. And it is 6052.
Okay, go ahead.
And then lastly would be the wages. What is the head count for those wages? And then since administration I thought of as mostly salary, is overtime something like the clerk's office, or what is overtime related to?
Alderman Bram, when you refer to wages, which page?
All right, I got to get in that habit again. Page 100, 1003.
Okay. You got them? Okay, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. So the Youth Commission is on page 149. That's under Human Services. We moved that to that group at least in 2018 as the budget reflects. I can't recall when exactly we moved it there. So that has resided in that area, and we'll get to that in just a minute. The SOC line item, we have not participated in SOC in at least 3 years. And at the time, there was some discussion. I know the committee talked about leaving SOC as we moved into ONCC. So we've not funded that, and they've not asked for any funding in the last at least 9 years, 8 years, something like that. They've not asked for any funding. And then the last item, overtime in administration, that covers some of the clerks up front in our area, whether it's a special event or just agendas or what have you. And then I think your last question was head count on the full time. Is that correct, Alderman Bram?
Right.
And I know we do a spread on that, and I'm looking over at Tom to see if he has. We're going to have to get back to you on the exact people that are included in that.
That's fine. Thank
you.
you.
On the circle back.
No, you can just provide that information when you have it. I would like to put SOC on the circle back. Thank you for the response.
Is the just a line item on page 101 regarding the Youth Commission superfluous? Can we just delete it from the budget since it's accounted for in 149? Is there a reason for it?
I know we typically leave line items in that are not funded through the years that are showing. So I'll talk with the finance director about that.
So there is $75 that's recorded in 2019. So we'll have to keep it there for another year.
Sounds important. My 2 cents on Suburban O'Hare, since I'm a member and I've attended, a non-paying member. When I was first elected, I want to say 8 years ago, went to my first meeting with the city manager, and Suburban O'Hare is kind of what I would call a vestigial commission. It's left over from a fight against O'Hare that doesn't even exist anymore. And it became very, very clear that the leadership at Suburban O'Hare Commission was directly opposed to Elmhurst interests and continues to be opposed to Elmhurst interest. And in my opinion, it's a commission that's not run very well. And I express my frustration not only to leadership at Suburban O'Hare Commission, but also fellow mayors who are on that Suburban O'Hare Commission. Certainly I was in full support when we decided to stop contributing money because they were using those funds to fund plans to oppose what Elmhurst was looking to do as it related to Fly Quiet in how has it affected our community. So I found it to be contradictory to what Elmhurst was trying to achieve. With my 2 cents as a member of the Suburban O'Hare Commission. Anything else? Okay, any other comments as it relates to agenda item 6A? Alderman Brennan, you had your hand up? Go ahead.
I'm muted.
Okay, there you go.
Can you hear me, Mayor? Oh, can you hear me, Mayor? All right. Yep. Thank you, Mayor. Page 101, line item 6045. City Manager, you had mentioned this is for the front porch, which I totally agree. That is an excellent publication. I just had a question. So in 2018, 2019, let's just call it, $30,000. We increased the budget in 2020, to 68. Looks like we're coming in at about 60, and we're looking to increase it 10,000 in 21. And I would have been okay with that, but then it goes back down to 60 again. Is there something happening this next year that is driving that $10,000?
Yes. So the reason that it went to the 68 or the 60,000 this year was for the app development. And then the additional would be the citizen survey that's coming up this year. We do those every other year, so that then it would go back down the year after.
Thank you. I heard you mention the app development, but I didn't have it tied to the line item. Thank you.
Any other questions for the city manager on this line item? Let's move on, city manager.
Very good. The next would be finance, and that's pages 106 to 107. I'm sorry, I skipped over Border Fire and Police Commissioners. I'm sorry. Page 104.
That wasn't subconscious.
It was not, of course not. So the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners is the volunteer group that does the recruiting and hiring of police and fire. They also have to deal with discipline issues occasionally. But I know they are in charge of the overseeing the testing for the lists for not only the recruitment, but also the promotions of lieutenants, battalion chiefs, and sergeants. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions for the city manager? Let's move on.
Okay, now we get to finance. Page 106 and 107, and I will turn it over to Director Trezine.
Thank you, City Manager Grabowski. Just a few comments on the finance. It's been an extremely interesting year, like all departments. I don't think anybody in the finance staff, played a huge role in us doing a lot of analysis regarding revenues and expenditures due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We continue to analyze those revenues and see where we can make efficiencies with on the expenditure side. We know we're also now dealing with the state of Illinois with the fair tax not being approved, that we'll have to continue to monitor that to see where the state goes with trying to deal with their budget issues also. Some of the current things that we've been working on as far as improving efficiencies. We've reviewed the adjudication and parking ticket systems. We just finished an upgrade to our time and attendance system, so we'll be getting back on track trying to convert some additional departments, public works and public safety departments, to our time and attendance system. And we'll also be looking at providing online parking permits, through our website. We also are going through a comprehensive water and sewer rate study that we will be presenting to the Finance Committee and on to the City Council during the next couple of months. Really, that's just a general overview. We know we need for 2021 that we'll be looking at some of our banking services and especially the credit card charges. I know that's come up over the last couple of years through the budget process. And are there some things that we can do to maybe curb those expenditures? Basically, the finance budget is on pages 106 and 107. Fairly standard budget for this year for 2021. We are anticipating a couple of retirements at least. You'll see that again budgeted in 1006. And we did bump up our contract staffing a little bit to hopefully possibly deal with some of the staff turnover due to retirements in the finance department. Here to take any questions or comments.
Questions for Mr. Trezine? Alderman Brand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I don't have a line item because I'm not sure if this belongs in the IT budget or the finance budget. And with that precursor, Director Trezine, you might know what I'm going to ask. In regards to use of online payments for other services, I know we've spoken on various occasions. I don't know if that's part of the finance budget. I don't know where that lands. Can you update in regards to where we are with that, and do we see, significant progress in 2021?
So there was, staff did some analysis, and my understanding is that is ready to go right now. So we just need to get the forms out on the website to be able to offer additional payments online. One example of that was, and again, this may be important now coming up with additional restrictions due to COVID of residents being able to purchase refuse stickers online and everything. So my understanding again is that is ready to go. We just need to finalize the forms to put out there and we should be good to go.
Great news. Thank you.
Any other questions for this line item? Alderman Brennan.
You calling me? Sorry. I did have my hand up. Thank you. Director Trezine, page 106, line item 10.6. So you had mentioned retirement. Is the $54,500, is that some sort of accrued owed, PTO or sick time?
Yeah, I'll take that. So that is, we have a policy, written policy that after 20 years of employment, you get a certain percentage of your sick time paid upon retirement.
Additional comments or questions? Let's move on.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, we are jumping to page 146 and 147, which is the legal budget. And so that is for a number of different legal services. First, and so the 3019 and 3063 are both our prosecuting attorney. That is separate from Attorney Storino's firm. We have a separate prosecutor that comes and works with our adjudicator. So those two work with that. We have Labor Counsel, which is part of Attorney Storino's firm. And we do have one contract that is coming up in 2021 and then towards the end of that year, we will also start back into negotiations with the fire union. No, I'm sorry, that's 21. It's just one contract with Local 150 that we'll be working with. And then the legal fees and additional counsel, that's for any myriad of general items that come up. It also deals with economic development, lawsuits, number of other items that come up just month to month. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions on this line item? Seeing no raised hands, let's move on.
Flipping the page to 148, these are our claims. I think they're pretty self-explanatory as far as the what the two accounts are. Happy to answer any questions.
Mayor,
Yes.
Alderman Toledo here.
Yep. Floor is yours.
Thank you. I know it's not really this line item, but it did come up during the insurance review, related, Mr. Grabowski, to workers' comp claims and our exclusion from a possible pool option because of our increased claims compared to kind of an average customer in that pool. And I know that the committee discussed and city and finance staff shared that there were some new things being done as it related to improving our environment and our training for workers' comp. Could you just briefly summarize that for the council?
Yes, thank you, Alderman. So we will be working with Safety Committee to bring down those claims. In addition, Assistant Manager Kopp and I have been talking about consultant at IRMA, which is the pool that we looked at, consultant that they use. We want to talk to that individual as well to see what he can do to help us reduce our claims. Is there anything else you want me to touch on, Alderman?
That's good. As I think it's important for us to understand that we're doing something proactive to try to be better in the future with those claims if we can. Thank you.
Additional questions for the city manager on this line item, page 148. Let's move on.
Thank you. Next, we are on page 149, Human Services. That involves a number of programs that we have, including the grant to the Senior Citizens Council for Meals on Wheels, the Ride DuPage program, the still subsidized taxi program for seniors, the Youth Commission, which we touched on before, and then the Senior Citizens Commission. You can see that the Youth Commission budget is significantly less than it was, and that was a request that I made of the Youth Commission to help control the budget dollars, was to bring that down. And I know that they are still very active, much appreciated, and I think they have some programs planned for the next year. And I think Clerk Tamer might have a couple of words on that.
Yeah, thank you, City Manager Grabowski. So we're finding we're doing some things virtually, and we're getting partnerships from Amita Health, Rogers Behavioral Health, that they're coming in to do some presentations virtually for free. And also our job and volunteer fair, we are working on doing that virtually as well. The expenses will stay down. So we still want to stay active while be considerate of the times that we're in right now. Thank you.
Any questions? No questions? Let's move on.
Thank you. Next is page 150, which is Health Services. And that is two line items. That is mosquito abatement and also our contract with Metro Paramedics. And as you see on the J form, the increase to the ambulance contract was the action that the City Council took earlier this year to help recruit to our paramedics. Happy to answer any questions, Mayor.
Any questions? Seeing none, let's move on.
Okay, next is interfund transfers, and this is where I hand it over to Director Trozine.
So this is on page 155. The 2021 proposed budget includes one transfer, $500,000 that we would make from the general fund to the stormwater fund. That is repeated again in 2022. The $900,000 was actually allocated $500,000 for general expenditures and $400,000 for property acquisition. But now there's just a general $500,000 proposed.
Questions for Mr. Trozine? Okay, we're on a roll. Mr. Trozine.
So this, the bond and interest funds, pages 247 through 254. Basically, really, there's only one fund that's still remaining. That's our Fund 405. And you can see those revenues and expenditures are on pages 249 and 250. So this is the fund that we account for all of our corporate debt. We do record other debt service payments in our enterprise funds, but these are all the other funds where if there's stormwater, general fund, TIF, and everything, 249 and 250. So you'll see the allocation of all of the different bonds. On page 248, you can see that we did have a fund balance in this fund. Usually it has a zero fund balance, but there was a balance in there in 2019 and then again in 2020. When the TIF 1 fund closed down, we actually moved those remaining debt service payments to this fund to account for those and for us to be able to attempt to close down TIF 1. The other fund is the bond and interest, 251, 252. That was the sales tax revenue bond that we defeased. That bond dealt with the redevelopment project at Route 83 in St. Charles. This fund will go away next year. It still had dollars in 2018, but we won't reflect it anymore. So here to take any questions.
Questions for Mr. Trozine? Seeing none, let's move on. Oh, 11?
Thank you,
Scott, Alderman Levin, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Director, when we defeased this bond and the money was put in there, were those our funds or were those from federal construction?
Very good question. Those were funds from federal construction. They were responsible for paying all of that debt service, and they provided those funds that we set up in the escrow account. So there were no city funds.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, let's move on.
So the final group, the trust and agency funds, pages 255 through 269. I believe there are 4 funds associated with the trust and agency, the police and fire pension funds. So that's where we track all of the benefit payments and then the tax levy that the city council approved the committee report previously. There was discussion on that. So the police and fire pension funds. This also includes the Gloss Mausoleum and then the working cash fund. And you'll notice the working cash fund, page 267, 268, 269, basically maintaining the $1 million fund balance policy goal for the working cash fund of $800 to $1 million. Once it hits that $1 million, we transfer any excess dollars to the general fund. Take any questions, Mayor?
Any questions? I don't see any additional questions. City Manager Gorowski, anything you want to add?
Nothing more tonight, other than thank you for your attention to this. We will put together all of the circle backs and present them in memo form, and then answer any questions next week.
Alderman Toledo, you have a question.
Is it appropriate for me to ask a question about something that was not just discussed?
Budget related, give it a shot.
It is budget related. I just want to ensure, I had asked a number of offline questions regarding the municipal utility fund, and I wanted to make sure that city staff places those on a circle back. I continue to be a little bit concerned about approving some of the expenditures in the municipal utility fund while we are still waiting for the Baxter and Woodman comprehensive report. And I still don't have an answer on when we expect to receive that actual report. So if we could put that on the circle back so that we can understand the timing of receiving that report and its effect on the proposed budget. Thank you.
Got that, City Manager? Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the 2021 budget.
Mayor, I did have a quick question. Sorry, I had my hand up.
Checking to see if you're all awake. Alderman Dunn. The floor is yours.
To ask about the working cash fund. Usually we're targeting $1 million for that. And we're showing a balance $1 million at the end of next year. However, the report on the tax levy this evening said we were going to drift down to 800,000. So I'm just wondering what is the expected scenario?
Good question, Alderman Dunn.
So the report, it talks about the fund balance policy is $800 to $1 million, but that we are maintaining at the $1 million balance right now.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Alderman Mulliner, second by Alderman Brennan. Clerk Tamer, please call the vote.
Okay. Brennan?
Aye.
Mulliner?
Aye.
Deuter?
Aye.
Varimus?
Aye.
Dunn?
Aye.
Graham?
Aye.
Palumski?
Aye.
Cahill absent. Toledo?
Aye.
Park?
Aye.
Levin?
Aye.
Kennedy?
Aye.
Conquest?
Aye.
12 ayes, 0 nays.
12 ayes, 0 nays. Motion to adjourn is approved. We will see you next Monday. We are adjourned. Thank you.